you've been dealing with a chronic health condition like joint pain, fatigue, brain fog, IBS, or autoimmune symptoms, and you've tried a lot of different ways to heal, but the results never seem to hold, there's usually a reason for that. And it might not just be what you're doing to try to heal, but it can also be the order you're doing it in, because healing is a process and the body heals in a sequence. And when that sequence gets ignored, even good methods and protocols won't get the job done. So in this video, I'm going to explain that process and show you the three-part healing framework we use with our clients to support that process so that the body can fully heal itself. So what most people never have been shown is what the proper sequence of the natural healing process should actually look like in real life. What comes first, what comes second, and why does the order matter so much? But when the order gets ignored, people often end up doing the right things at the wrong time and getting poor results or even making their symptoms worse. And once you understand that, a lot of the confusion in your health journey starts to make sense. And what I mean by the sequence of the natural healing process is, in a basic sense, taking care of the basics and laying the foundation first and then building from there. So one of the biggest problems that people have when they're trying to heal in this way is that in their haste to get results, they overlook the obvious and they skip over or ignore basic natural healing principles and how the body works. And they jump right into more advanced healing protocols they find, which will typically lead to poor results. And so they end up wondering why they didn't get good results or even ended up making themselves worse. And many times they end up losing faith in natural healing or whether it's even possible for their body to heal. But it's like trying to build a house by starting with the roof. If you don't lay the foundation and build the frame of the house first, what's going to hold the roof up? And healing works the same way, and that's where the framework helps. It gives you three core areas to focus on: restore, rebuild, and reconfigure, and how to lay the groundwork in each of these areas first before moving into more advanced applications for even deeper healing. So the first pillar of this natural healing process is called restore. And the restore pillar is about reducing the toxic load on the body that's slowly poisoning the body and keeping the body stuck, just trying to keep up with eliminating this excess buildup of toxins and waste that's accumulated. And this means identifying and removing some of the biggest sources of toxic burden from food, water, medications, and personal care products, while also supporting the body's natural detox pathways so it can start clearing out the chemicals and waste that have been building up over years and even decades. This phase alone, if done correctly, often brings noticeable relief because the body no longer has to spend so much of its energy just managing what it can't process. But the restore step by itself is not enough, and that's why so many of the trendy diets and cleansing protocols fail, because once the toxic load has been removed, the body is in a better position to heal, but it still needs the raw materials to rebuild itself. So the second pillar of the natural healing process is called rebuild. The rebuild pillar is about giving the body what it's been missing, the specific nutrients, minerals, and building blocks it needs to repair the damage that's accumulated from the excess toxins circulating throughout the system and from general wear and tear on the body over the years. And this isn't about just taking a multivitamin. The body's needs at this stage are much greater and are much more specific than that. In fact, most multivitamins and most supplements in general actually interfere with the healing process by adding more to the toxic load in the body. Because of our society's current farming and food distribution systems, most people living in the Western world are severely malnourished and depleted. So the rebuild pillar is about getting the body the right nutrition, the right supplements, and in many cases, specific foods and herbs that accelerate the repair and healing process. This is where people often start to feel the difference between making some improvement and genuine recovery. The energy that returns through the cleansing process of the restore pillar starts to become more reliable when it's supported by the steps in the rebuild pillar. And the reactions that quieted down start to stay quiet. The body is no longer just surviving at this point. It's starting to rebuild and regenerate itself. And then the third pillar of the natural healing process is called Reconfigure. And the Reconfigure pillar is about redesigning the life around health and healing and living in a more natural lifestyle that works with the body. Because even after the toxic load has been reduced and the body has been rebuilt with the right materials, if the environment and patterns that created the problem in the first place haven't changed, the problem often comes back. Even if you get rid of the toxins in your body that are making you sick, if you don't change your environment and you continue to poison yourself and put those toxins back into the body, then you're not going to get better. The toxic inputs return, the depletion resumes, and the body slides back to where it was. So reconfiguring in this step means replacing the toxic products, the harmful foods, and the environmental inputs that have been poisoning the system. It also means addressing the emotional patterns and stored stress that have been keeping the nervous system in survival mode, not through ineffective talk therapy or some notion of positive thinking alone, but through targeted approaches that work directly with the mind, the body, and the nervous system to unwind what's been held there. This is the phase that often makes the difference between people who get better and then slide back and people who get better and stay that way. So most people never work through all of these three areas in a systematic way, not because they don't want to, but because they've never had a clear map that showed them what these three areas are, how they're all connected, and how they build upon each other. And the much faster and more dramatic and more lasting results that come by using this approach. Typically what people do when they start trying a more natural approach to their healing is they try little bits and pieces of each. Maybe a detox here, a dietary change there, some emotional work somewhere else. But without structure, without foundations, without consistency, and without knowing what needs to happen next. And the result is the pattern we talked about earlier, which is progress that doesn't hold, improvements that reverse, and a body that keeps coming back to the same place no matter what's been tried. But when you start to understand healing is a process in this way, the results become a lot more obvious and a lot of things start to make sense. Why some things help for a while other things didn't help at all, and why without the right foundations in place, progress often doesn't hold. So now if this gives you a clearer picture of why you might have gotten stuck in your healing and you'd like to see a deeper explanation of this process, you can check out the recent masterclass I gave that goes deeper into our three-part healing process. In the masterclass, I walk you through the restore, rebuild, and reconfigure pillars in more detail so you can better understand what may be keeping your body from healing. There will be a link for that free masterclass below. Just click the link below to check it out.